One of the unsung heroes of Australian basketball is Eddie Palubinskas. Eddie was the second highest scorer at the 1972 Munich Games and the top scorer at the 1976 Montreal Games. In Montreal, Palubinskas scored a remarkable 52 points more than his nearest competitor, averaging an amazing 31 points a game. Eddie Palubinskas, a true champion in the spirit of the Olympic Games.
Hi, I'm Ed Palubinskas, and I welcome you to the Shooter's Lab. It's definitely a place where if there's no pain, there's no gain. This goes hand in hand with my first tape, Secrets to Perfect Shooting Principles, which you should have in your own personal library. This tape is dedicated to players and coaches of all levels, including the NBA. The focus here is on mastering shooting mechanics by developing the fine muscles of the forearm, the wrist, and the fingers, which makes up the shooting mechanism. The key word we're looking for is consistency, which is earned by reducing any and all extra joint movement. The bottom line is to develop a more robotic or mechanical finish of the shot, which you'll see a little later as I go into some repetitive shooting. These drills may look easy, but pain will become your unwelcome partner. When these drills become easy and painless, then your shot will be easier and closer to being perfected. Perfection shows no neglect. All these drills are broken down into small parts, which correlate to a real active shot. Every part of the shot must be broken down, understood, and physically mastered. Shooting mastery is nothing but mind over matter and process over product, and the mastery over 1 second of pure mental concentration and physical application. These skills and drills have helped me set Olympic scoring records, national and international shooting records as well. The game needs more great shooters. Maybe it's you. Good luck and best wishes. Now let's go and shoot. Our first finger strengthening drill is going to go into a fingertip push-up position, like so. The thing that you need to remember as we're approaching this position, you'll notice there's an arrow on this hand, on this finger. It's pointing straight ahead, and the hands are directly underneath the shoulders. In this case, all we want to do is hold for about 30 seconds. I want to mention that another important part of this drill is the fact that the pinky, number 3, and number 2 fingers are moved away because they're also insignificant in the shot. They don't have any value in doing the shot. They do have value, but they should not be the mainstay of pointing the ball in the right direction. And so that's why I want to also show that point. This finger is number 2. This is number 3 right here. This is number 4. Index finger is number 1. And we want to, as we start lifting these fingers away, I want to show the insignificance of these fingers in relation to the shot itself. The shot really should come through this finger at the last part of the ball release and rotation. the reason on this push-up that's so important, and I've got this arrow drawn here, is that this is how you should finish the shot in relation to the center of the rim. And that's why we keep this finger in line with that forearm angle up to the shoulder. This should always be intact and always be straight directly from the release of the ball to the center of the rim. It should never be at that angle, or that. Notice how that angle, the arrow is starting to twist. That is poor, and you're looking for trouble. Of course, this will, a lot of younger kids or players will start hurting and want to drop their knees. It's not part of the drill. After that time, what I want you to do is start taking away the small finger in 5 to 10 second increments. Then take the next finger away. Then take your middle finger away. By this time, it should be about 45 seconds, after which I want you to go into a half push-up with the finger and the middle finger as a floor prop. Run this for 30 seconds to 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day. For those of you who are smaller and can't have sustained this time, build it up to the maximum that you're able to do it. Okay, for the smaller children and girls, those who are a little weaker in the shoulders and arms, you can use your knees as a pivot. Still, we want to make sure that your fingers are, this index finger is pointing directly straight ahead. The hands are still directly underneath the shoulders, and you can still go into the same half push-up. You can simply do this drill. You can break away, you can do whatever number you feel like, but you do want to work and move your fingers like so, where you can start feeling the pain in your finger here, and because that's the shooting finger that we're trying to deliver the pain to. And it won't take long before you start feeling a lot of strength in those fingers, which will transfer to the shooting of the basketball. Okay, for those of you who are just sitting around watching TV or listening to a coach or at a seminar, or if you're in a sitting position at all, you can be doing your shooting drills. Again, it's a finger strengthening exercise, and you can do it anytime you're in this position. Same thing, get your fingers open, hands wide, simply use your heels, elevate yourself off the floor, and then simply work on a half push-up position, which is great for the shoulder. It strengthens the fingers, and it will create pain. By the way, you want to do 3 sets of 30 seconds. For those of you who are in more advanced stage and really want to get some stronger fingers, this is what I call the push-up thrust. You simply bounce up, push yourself off the ground. Do this about 20 times a day. Do this for a short period of time, 2 weeks, and you'll be amazed at the strength that you're going to develop in those hands. Our next drill, we're going to do a ball push-up. Come here, Wilson. It involves balance, and you'll be surprised what starts happening once you start going down on the ball. A lot of people will start shaking like this. So it's a ball control, and it's a strengthening thing as well. This next drill is a continuation of the floor exercises for strength for the wrist and the fingers, but it's for those who may have an injury in the shoulder or in the elbow or even in the fingers, and or in any part of the body. And it also be less pressure because you're not using the whole body weight. Simply the same, you line up facing the wall, and you're simply going to approach the wall in a push-up position. But the nice thing here, if you want to get it tougher and a little harder for you, simply step with your feet back further and increase the angle. And it's also going to stretch your calves, so you get 2 birds with 1 stone. And then again, simply go to the wall and push back. Go to the wall and push back. Notice also, which I didn't mention before, there's a triangle factor here between the number 1 finger, the thumb, and the pinky. That triangle should always be intact when I finish a shot. So basically I'm trying to create the memory within my mind and the visual, which I'll always have when I actually finish the shot with the ball. This is great for the shoulders. and also good for the fingers without too much pressure. Okay, this next drill is designed to develop the strength in your forearms as well as your wrists. What I'd like you to do is sit up against the wall, get your 5, 10, 15-pound barbells, and then put your forearms on the knees like this, on your thighs, and then start your repetitions at like 3 sets of 10, and you can work up with your weights simply like this. Most of you, when you first do it, are going to have a hard time doing it, but go to your max and each day improve on it. After you've done this, you rotate and you can simply do the wrist curls off to the edge of your knee. You can roll the weights all the way down because these are a nice weight. These are 12-pounders. And you're also working a defensive position. Notice you're in the sit and the defensive mode. And so you're really testing the whole body. But in a while you'll find that your forearms are starting to burn because you're exercising the muscles you need in the actual shot process. Our next couple of drills are dedicated to the strengthening of the fingers. And this can be done anytime, anywhere. And it's very cheap. These are a couple of racket balls, or you can get a couple of tennis balls and simply keep them with you and just simply squeeze. Anytime you're not doing nothing, watching TV, traveling on the bus, driving in a car, instead of wasting time, just have the ball with you all the time and keep working the fingers from the index finger, squeeze it in a circular motion, and you'll start seeing the development and muscular lineage that will develop in your arms over a period of time. If you can't get access to the balls of any kind, you've got these hand grips that you can purchase for a few dollars at Walmart, and you can simply work this action. Same thing, they're a little tougher and they give a real nice muscular expansion up in the high forearm part, which is very important in the development of the shot. And you can hold these squeezes for 30 seconds at a time. You'll find out how tough it is because they want to react in the reverse direction. You can reverse these things and the action will apply much more stronger on the index and the middle finger, which is the main parts involved in the shot. And these, in my time, I went through 8 pairs, that's 16 units, which eventually cracked right down the middle. So you can tell, challenge yourself to see how long it takes before you can crack one right at the seams. The next drills are focused again on the widening of the hand and the gripping factor, and you can basically use any prop that you can find. A lot of you think shooting development is peanuts. We have a gallon of peanuts specifically for that purpose, and we'll be able to see how peanuts can help us become better shooters. The same thing with a 6-pack or 12-pack of drinks. A great way to work this is simply hold. You can get a big encyclopedia, a real old Bible, and you simply work this where you at about 30 seconds, a minute. A lot of you will give up if the time will elude you before you can finish the time that you want. And then simply rotate the hands, hold, and you find that the gripping factor, the strengthening device right within between the fingers, has a big impact on the shot itself. So another thing with this that we like to do is simply start getting into this action where you start bringing the hand up, the elbow gets directly underneath the ball, and actually we do this with firewood or bricks, and then what I like to do is actually throw it. That's why when I'm outside in my firewood pile, we cut the wood, I pick them up, and I rotate them and roll them and flick the ball, flick it just like I was going to do in a basketball shot. It's amazing because they've got the whole repetition, the elbow gets under the ball, the weight kicks the wrist back, and you throw it. We can do this with firewood. For those of you who can't find any props, a brick, a rock that will fit the palm of your hand, something that will have some weight. Just holding the prop in your hand, you'll find that there'll be certain muscles, whichever starts hurting you, they're the muscles that will be involved in the process of the shot. Then you simply, the lower weight of the book or the piece of wood or the brick, roll it up, and then you simply flick it as if you would snap the ball. And it's a great exercise involving specificity. You're being very, very specific in what you're doing. And then, of course, after you do this a while and you go to a basketball, it's much, much softer, much easier to shoot. If you have a partner, simply enclose the fingers, and the object here is against negative force. I'm going to extend pressure again. Now, he's not going to let me. Now, you come back to me. That's it. Very slow against neck. Keep going all the way until I can't go no more. Now, you release slowly. Don't let it be too easy for me to do that too. Okay, all the way till the end. Right till it's right. Now, you come back to me. Go ahead. Then you simply rotate against negative energy. You see all the white, the knuckles, the blood being squeezed in there. You do 3 sets of 10 of these and you'll feel like you've had a real nice workout on the musculature in the forearms of your body. Our next drill involves something a little more unique than is normal. This is an aerobic ball they use for aerobics, and I found a great use for it for development of basketball shooting. The beautiful thing about this ball is the fact that it will force you to spread your fingers and to take it another step further. And as I do this next drill, I want you to watch how the white hand is spread, and as you do this drill, keep the hand spread throughout the whole shot process. And notice the left hand comes off the ball at the moment that the shot is released. And here's the drill. You simply shoot the ball up like you regularly would. Notice how the elbow's locking. You can do 3 sets of 20 of these, and when you pick up the basketball, you'll be amazed at how little the ball feels. It will be like a pea. After you do this, then spend a minute or so trying to make the basket. It's not easy, but you can do it, and this is part of the fun. Okay, now you got to get it down. Wilson, come here. Thank you. And that's part of the fun of doing this drill. These next few drills are simply utilizing just the body and to improve the memory, muscle memory, and give you a more conscious feeling of how you should finish with the shot without the ball, because as soon as many times when the ball is brought into play, we tend to forget what we're supposed to do. This drill is called the zombie drill, specifically because all you have to do is stand there and raise your arms parallel to the floor. And what's very important is that the index fingers, again, up perfectly, directly straight at the basket in front of you, or just the 90 degrees straight ahead. And if you'll notice that the arrow is always working for me, and it's just the mental picture that I try to have all the time. It should never leave when I'm doing the shooting. Open your hands wide. Notice that the thumb and the pinky and my triangle is intact, and they're parallel to the floor right there again, and it's level with the shoulder. This drill, the object is for 30 seconds. Do nothing but separate the joints right in here and keep them as wide as you can for that 30 seconds. If you're doing the drill right, by the time the 30 seconds is up, your fingers will be shaking like that because the muscles are working overtime, and you'll develop some what they call lactic acid. And when that happens, you start really feeling sore and pain. But for 30-second slots, most of us can handle it. I'd like you to do 3 sets of 30 seconds of this, and you can rest like 10 seconds in between. Our next drill is simply a continuation from the zombie drill. All I'm going to do is go to the perfect follow-through. And you do 3 sets of 60 seconds of this drill, basically really doing nothing except maintaining a nice locked pose that your brain can remember how you need to finish after the shot. Take your off shooting hand, in my case it's the left, put it underneath the wrist joint and simply push it up. Notice nothing is moving except the wrist joint and the shoulder. This hand, which was parallel to the floor, turn it 90 degrees to the floor and simply bend your elbow and cock it up. This is the finished drill, and maintain that for 60 seconds after we chicken rest for a half a minute. This next drill is simply a what I call a timeout drill, and yet it's really a shooting drill. If you'll notice, I'm doing the drill right now. My elbows are bent, but my wrists are locked and bent, and they're leaning against my hips in the shooting pose. In other words, if I take my hand away, if you'll notice, if I straighten it out, I'm in that position, which is the finished shooting position without my locked elbow, which should be right there. But all I'm going to do to get the position on my hips, and bend right there and go right to the hip, and I'm in a timeout situation, and you're listening to the coach, you may as well, if shooting is being a problem, then work on that portion of your hand. Now, the key is this part right here is the most important part. This is the strength part of the shot. Right through that arrow, that's the strongest part of your shooting mechanism. This is all weaker. You do not want these involved in directing the shot. That's why when I put my hand, I'm going to put this part and lean that against my hip to further reinforce with my conscious mind and subconscious that that's how I want to finish my shot when I come through. So it's going to come through right there. This finger is pointing dead straight into your living room. This next drill is we're really going to focus on the finer parts of the shot, which is just in the finger, and recognizing the importance of the finger placement and the finger follow through on the finish. We start off by doing one finger, which I call the trigger finger or index finger, and all we're going to do is you can hold your forearm with the other hand and simply, you're doing nothing, so you're kind of pointing at this something, or find a target or a basket or a friend, and all you're doing is pointing straight ahead. And notice you're snapping the wrist to the max. I can't go any further than that. So that's my maxed follow through right there. You do this 3 sets of 10. Even that, if you'll notice, all this starts working for you. If anything else that's crucial to understand in the mind, the muscle memory that I'm getting from the finger to the mentality that's going to keep working on a basis like this. Then from there we're going to go to the second finger. Bring the second finger out. This is not as easy. All of a sudden it's a little tougher. There's a weight bearing process going on here. Well, it's not easy for me anyhow. That second finger, I really feel some tension in here. The third finger is even going to be worse, but I'm still working on that follow through, and I'm having trouble. That third finger is really difficult for me. But as soon as I bring the fourth finger up, I'm starting to open that pattern. That's going to feel a lot smoother for me. By now, I'm really feeling some burning going on in my forearm. The finish of this follow through, now just bring the thumb out. You'll notice that my little pinky finger and the tip here and the thumb form a triangle. And now you do this drill, 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 20. You're going to find a lot of heat and fire in here, and you may not be able to do 3 sets of 5, but you build up every single day. And when you'll be able to know after you finish your shooting process, if you're doing this on the finish of your shot, then you will not need to practice this anymore. In continuing our breakdown of the shooting pattern, we're going to go into the breakdown of the elbow lock drill. This is a critical part of the shot, extremely important, and very much butchered by many millions of shooters nationally. Basically, it's simply you're going to start in the mode right here, and all I want you to do is you can touch the elbow with that, and then simply thrust that elbow up into that mode right there and leave it. That's it. All you're going to do is work on a hyperextension. Feel that going up against where it can't go anymore, and simply go into that position at about 50-55 degrees. That's it. Do 3 sets of 10 right there. The objective here is to put your mind on the wrist and recognize that you shouldn't drop it anywhere right here. Once you get there, that's where the wrist stays, and that's what the elbow will lock for you. The wrist has to follow. We shouldn't have any of this loose stuff. This looseness is what causes all kind of inconsistent problems in the finality of the shot. There's the finished product. The next drill is simply an extension of the elbow lock drill. Now we're going to snap that wrist coming through all the way. In other words, you're going to have the finished product except without the ball. Just in retrospect, remember the elbow lock drill? We're going to go from there. Now I want you to open that wrist and simply follow through. The thumb and the pinky are parallel to the floor. This finger points right at the direct center of the basket. So now you're going to raise this, lock that elbow. As soon as that elbow locks, the wrist follow through, and now your timing is all together. Of course, you can incorporate the bent knee, the knee and the elbow and the wrist all go together. You can finish up on your toe. No ball. Again, this is a mind, muscle, memory. Mind, muscle, memory. 3 sets of 20 without the ball. A nice thing to do is in a day like 2 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning, you can do it outside, a sun, you can get the shadow, you can check yourself out, you can look at the form, and you start liking what you see. You can do it in front of a mirror. Go sideways, look at yourself, check yourself out, check the angle, see that there's no movement in here. The more you can get feedback from a shadow, from a wall, from a mirror or a glass reflecting window, the quicker you're going to know that you're looking good, and it's going to be very mechanical and very machined. The next drill is a continuation of the follow-through drill utilizing the knee bend. I don't think you need any more than a 6-inch knee bend. Of course, the closer you are to the basket, even less than that. So basically, I mean, you not even have to drill much of this, except just know that I've never seen anyone that shoots with a stiff-legged, and you don't need to, although it's not a big part of shooting, but it's just a natural part, and everyone does use it. So it's nothing but simply there and there, there and there, there and there. Notice the timing. By the time the knees lock, this locks, and that snaps all at the same time. Against the mirror, a big pane of glass, a shadow on the floor, outside, check yourself out, and look like the real machine that the ball needs. Our next drill is simply an extension of the others, but it's using the off-shooting hand. It's going to be the easiest drill and will cause the least amount of pain. But I do want you to do it repetitiously, so as you recognize that the hand should have nothing to do on the ball as the ball is released. The ball should not, both hands should not touch the ball at the same time the ball is being released. That's when we have a problem. This drill simply does this. All the fingers simply come off the ball as the ball is going, as you're going up with the ball. This hand simply comes off the ball, and the shooting hand continues up with the ball. This is this drill. Learn how to do that. Even that, you'll start feeling some movement by you stretching and extending those fingers, taking it off the ball, is going to be a drill that you must master, and that will take away half of your body, and it's going to improve your whole shooting on the strength part of the shot. Okay, our next few drills are utilizing the basketball now, and this first drill is simply we're going to work the shoulders, the forearms, the wrist, and we're simply going to do drills against the backboard. You can do it against the wall, about 10, 11 feet high. You're going to lock your elbow, snap your wrist, take your left hand or your off hand off the ball, 50 times right hand, 50 times left hand, and I'd like you to do 3 sets of those every time you work this event, because you want to do the offhand because it'll also develop your other hand twice as fast, because you're getting twice the impact on your memory bank. So basically this is the drill. You line up, the elbows must be above your nose or level with your nose, and then throughout the entirety of the drill, the ball shouldn't fall, hit the floor, otherwise you can't do this drill very good. You need more practice. So here it is. I'm going to catch the ball. Notice how I'm locking the elbow right there, and I'm snapping the wrist. The ball is landing in my fingers. Okay, you don't need to bend your knees, but you can if you want to. But right now, all I'm working on is spraying the fingers. In fact, I'd like it where you don't even touch this other hand at all, but they must stay up there. You're going to feel burning in your shoulders and your arms and your forearm, because these are drills that you haven't worked on, and it's very specific to the event of shooting. Then transfer to your left, do the same thing, Try not to touch it with the other hand if you can help it. If you have to, catch it, but take it off before you shoot it. Really work on locking the elbow, and that's it. This next drill is a shorter version of the one we just did, and all I'm working is the wrist. I'm not gonna lock my elbow like I did before. In fact, you can hold your forearm here, and you can feel the growth and the muscle development right in here. All you gotta work is snapping that wrist. Again, then cross over. You're doing the same thing. You can hold this right there. Notice the ball is in the fingertip pads and not in the palm of my hand. And all I'm doing is snapping the wrist, and the fingers stay perfectly straight all the way through. Here we go. We're going to do a shorter version. 50 times right, 50 times left. Notice the rotation of the ball, which is coming through my black line on my hand, and as I'm rotating, this finger is the one that's touching the ball last, okay? So you'll notice that that's, after I get my full extension, I'm going to get my full rhythm into the ball and the rotation. But all I'm doing here is actually rotating the ball and snapping my fingers and landing back on my fingers, and that's it. Same thing with this, nice and gentle. Get a nice control factor. It's not easy, but you have to develop it. Keep this hand open as you're doing this drill. This next drill is simply going to be working the locking of the elbow or the hyperextension where it can't go anymore. This is where you get your consistency on the shot. And all you're going to do is after you finish your shot, the wrist, keep everything above the head. Do not drop anything. A lot of people have these horrible habits of letting things slide or drop, or everything is so loose in their movement. This is and you can do it against the wall or with a partner. So realistic, of course, you can bend your knees when you do this. Finish up on your toes, except you're line driving the ball to a spot against the floor. Against the wall. So finish up on your toes. Notice I'm above my forehead when I'm releasing this ball. I'm not down here. I'm up there, and so the hyperextension of the elbow and the snapping of the wrist is propelling the ball forward. And this is a tough drill, and you really need to work this hard. Do 3 sets of 20 on a daily basis when you're working on your drills. Of course, that's both hands, same amount of sets, reps. This next drill is a pass and a shot drill. Basically, both things encompass the same thing, but I'm going to show you where you can get tremendous power from beyond the NBA shot, from half court, and you can call upon the energy that most of us are not using to make a nice, easy shot. Basically, the drill simply, I want you to be able to, if you're right hand, to be able to step back and forward with your right leg, like this. Start, I want you to be able to have this freedom of movement of that elbow, and make sure it's like the wheels of a train. They're simply going in this cycle, but there's no bend in it. So I want you to be able to keep that elbow behind. As you step, just simply throw the ball. Notice the follow through. Notice that I'm going to rotate the ball off my hand, and I'm simply going to take, it's realistically nothing but a shot that's parallel to the floor. You can take a dribble if you want, and I'm winding up back here. That's how it goes. You can get a partner. You can even do this against the wall. If you're a left-hander, all you're going to do is simply change your right here. You're going to simply step with that left hand, okay? Right there. Notice the follow through. The elbow is this hand comes off the ball. Right there. What's the rotation of the ball? Which is caused by the spinning of the fingers right there. And the rotation, the wrist is cocked right there. And then simply it's passed. From here on in, all you're going to do, instead of when you finish the pass, you're simply going to extend your arm and finish up at the finished position. And after you work this a while, start stepping out bit by bit to find out the limits of your shot, and simply all you're going to do is go right into that position, and that was a swish. After you've gotten used to this movement, all you're going to do is simply put your thrust in your knees, and you're just going to change the elevation into our locked position and just let the ball fly. So nothing from there. You're just going to continue right up into that mode, and there goes your long boom shot. And then simply throw the ball up in the air, leave it alone. It's going to go straight because of everything that you've done with your elbow behind it and your fingers behind it, the ball, so you're going to be in good shape there. Okay, this drill is simply repetitive shooting, basically from the free throw line if you wish. Find a wall and you want to shoot the ball high and soft. You study the rotation of the ball and hold your pattern, hold your finish and follow through till the ball comes back to you. And basically we're simply doing nothing but right there, finish up on your toes. Here comes the ball right back into my pocket. Watch the ball, shoot the ball, watch the ball rotation. Here it comes back into my shooting pocket. Get the ball above the forehead, follow through, ball comes back into my shooting pocket. Here we go again, follow through. Again, I'm watching my arrow right here, pointed directly at the basket, my fingers parallel to the floor, and I'm locking that elbow right there, and the ball comes right back into my shooting pocket, right here. And then you can also do that with your left hand. Same principle. May as well develop the other one. If you're going to be a shooter, you may as well start developing that shot from the other hand. The more you learn with the left, the better you're going to be with the right. Shoot, finish up on your toes. Notice the knees are bending. As soon as the knees lock, the elbow locks, the wrist locks. This is the whole shot, the finished product. And there's not enough of these that you can't do without shooting at a basket. And if you do all this right, you'll be amazed how many shots you're going to make, whether you want to or not. Here's one drill that you can do laying down on the job. You can do it at home, laying in your bed, on the grass outside, on the floor in the gym, anywhere, and you can work on your shooting drill. Simply going to bend your knees for a little, it just feels a little better instead of leaving them flat on the ground. It gives you a little strength. Put the ball up in front of your face, cock your wrist, and all you're going to do, take the left hand ball off the ball, or your off hand off the ball, shoot the ball 6 feet high, watch the rotation, leave your hand, follow through. When the ball comes back, it sits right back in your fingers, and off you go again. This is a drill. Go straight up and straight down. You're studying the rotation of the ball. This finger, the index finger, is a dead center again, and you're just continually working the muscle memory, connecting with the mind and the job it's supposed to do. So all you're doing is there. Catch, catch, catch. The ball should come right back to you if you're doing it right. Lock that elbow straight, straight, straight. Then left hand, then left hand, then left hand, then left hand. There you go. And you'll notice that you pretty soon, it won't take very long, after you do a lot of sets of these, that you start really feeling how consistent that you can develop into your finished product. Now, from here, we're going to go directly into what I call the layup. I think this is where they get the term from. I'm really laying down, but I'm going to do a layup in the laying down position. So there's a play with words there, and it's going to be hard for, you'll know that if you're getting strength in your hands and arms, if you can do this drill. Not easy, but you'll be able to, it's something you can, all I'm going to do is simply shoot off the glass and make a layup, and right there, and you continue working. That's how you can develop your strength factor. Right there. Okay, this drill is simply a one-handed dribble with a one-handed pickup, and you just want to remember to keep the elbow directly under the ball, and you want to lock the elbow, finish with the open hand at the finish of the shot. This 6-foot shot is very, very difficult because you have to put all the effort into the finish of the shot. Now, at the same time, remember that the ball is going to be above my forehead on the release. For you smaller people, the young kids, girls, some of you are going to want to shoot from here. You have to get the ball up here. That's what's nice about this drill. Dribble it, pick it up, line it up, and just simply release the ball there. Now, remember also that you can keep the left hand, take your dribble, pick it up, keep the left hand there, because it's not going to be involved in the shot anyhow on the finish. If you've got problem with the left hand, great, just take it off. Leave it there as a muscle memory, because it's got to be there anyhow, so you might as well do everything with that left hand there. If you have to touch it, fine. You can do so. Dribble, pick up, touch it, but then it's got to come off anyhow. Notice the follow through at the finish. Every single shot that I do, you can do this. I mean, if you enjoy shooting like as much as I do, you can't do enough of these. I don't want to hit the front of the rim or the back. I want to go straight over the top. If anything, I want to hit the back of the rim. Dribble, pick up, shoot. Dribble, pick up, knees bend, shoot. That's a little strong for me. Dribble, pick up, shoot. And just let this locking mechanism do the shooting for you. And again, you want to do that with both hands. Dribble, pick up, shoot. 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 Let the fingers feel you doing the shooting. I would do 100 of these a day. This is nothing but fingertip control. Dribble, pick up, shoot. You can even practice off the backboard if you want, because there's nothing wrong with that. High and soft. You can also work that. The more you know, the more you feel comfortable with, the better it is. A shooter has no limits. They know exactly what to shoot, where to shoot, how to shoot. They have no problems on the shot. And that's on that drill. That's it. This is simply a ball pickup drill, and it's really important to remember that it's not like a layup where we dribble the ball and bring the ball to the left hand. In this case, if you're a right-handed shooter, you're going to pick the ball up, you're going to bring the left hand to the ball and get the elbow directly under the ball and go get the ball to your forehead as fast as you can. So the drill is simply this. Dribble, get your leg back in order, dribble, shoot. Dribble, shoot. Dribble, notice I'm bringing the ball to the left hand across my body. Dribble the ball here, catch. I'm always going to be in this position. Every time I'm playing, I've always got a 90 degree right there. It's not indifferent, so I'm always in a ready position to shoot the ball. So that's a drill. It's 1, 2, up. 1, 2, up. 1, 2. I get my behind underneath the ball, and I get the ball right in my firing line above my forehead. Right there, bop. And what I've done, as you get good to this drill, I eliminate the 90 degree, and I go straight from there to the top of my forehead. I go straight from there to there. Straight from there to there, straight from there. That's a lot quicker than bringing the ball, and it also is a factor for strength. You younger kids, those who are a little weak and not as strong in the arms, which we've been working on, we want to do this because you want to get all this, the central part of your body and the elbow underneath the ball to get the power. The more you develop the arms and the fingers, then you can get away with bringing the ball up here and releasing it from there to there and shot. Actually, it's what I call the triple threat position. Most of us know the triple threat to be right here. I like the ball right there because now I'm very, all I've got to do is release the shot, and it's gone. It saves me a lot of time. So there. In fact, I won't even move my leg in here because of the strength I've developed in my upper body. I can go from there simply straight up to the shot. So those things you get much easier for you once you start getting stronger in the upper part of your body. So again, there, elbow up, follow through. Now make sure you don't chop, don't want none of this stuff happening up at the top. There, you're drilling and you're trying to maintain the mastery of the shot. And that's that drill. This drill is, we're going to dedicate it to the development of the jump shot. Crucial ages for the jump shot. A lot of kids don't have it until the age of 12, 13, 14, round about there. It seems like it's associated with maybe puberty, I don't know. But and again, it's development of strength. So those of you who don't have the jump shot yet, this is going to show you how you can, that you'll have a little bit of a jump shot. It all boils down to the amount of pause you have at the top of your shot. In other words, as I jump, imagine someone taking a camera picture of you, and you're going to freeze for that moment, and then you release the ball. If you don't have that moment of time where you guide the ball, aim the ball, snap the wrist, then you don't have, the ball doesn't have nearly as much time as it needs to for the distance and accuracy. So basically, we're not going to worry about the footwork. We're just going to go into the step, jump. I want to see the pause, and then we're going to release. Now, the release is the same as a free throw. Everything we've been doing, the finish is always the same. So here it is. They're there. Notice I bring the ball directly up to my forehead. I'm going to pause for 1 split second right there, and then I'm simply going to release the ball. Nothing. Dribble. Pick, shoot. Dribble. I'm going to pick it up with the left hand. I'm going to take it straight up to the forehead, right there. I'm going to sit momentarily. Then I'm going to snap, lock the elbow, snap the wrist, and the ball's going to step there, in. Hold your follow through, step, in. Even if you miss, if you do the technique right, the ball will sit nicely on the rim and just roll in for you. Hold your follow through. That's the tough part about the development of this jump shot. Dribble. You can pump, still go up. If you'll notice that the ball goes up right up to my forehead, sit, my wrist is cocked, then I follow through, and that comes through all the development that we've been doing. Sorry. And that's the development of that little jump shot, which can also be extended further and further as you get stronger. This is not necessarily a drill. This is just going to show you some poor follow-through positions that people shoot around the country. Anything short of our drill that we've done, continuing from the zombie drill to the perfect follow-through drill, you're not going to have any level of high consistency. So here's some forms, and let's see if you may fit into some of these. I mean, many thousands of players, they shoot, they pull that elbow back. When you do that, you cannot master that consistency, and the ball's going to go short, long, it's going to go all over the place, usually short. So don't ever do that. By changing that angle right there is a real no-no. Also, when you do that, by pulling that forearm back, the hand gets all lost. So the ball doesn't have the correct direction or distance. It just gets all confused and there's no consistency. Everything we're trying to do here is get you geared into a tremendous consistent effort every single time you shoot for 1 split second. Anytime when you follow through, let's just say you do have a locked elbow, okay, somewhat of it, but you come through with those fingers right there. That's no good. A lot of people will they'll lock and then they'll point their hands away. If the basket's straight ahead, they'll point away. Now look at my arrow, it's going everywhere. Some people they twist their wrist, they have real soft wrists, and they'll shoot and there's a waving. So how can you get any consistency in that level? Many people shoot like this and they'll have both hands on the ball. Their fingers are coming through, they're swiping at the ball. All the stuff that we've done today is based on you getting a highly consistent level of development, and where the release of the ball is getting the same message every single time that you're shooting. The only different factor is the distance. So you're just going to add more strength, more legs, more wrist snap at the end of your shot, or a combination thereof. So recognize these little problems, and but you can get more of these on my first videotape, Perfect Shooting Principles. If you have this tape and don't have the other one, you may have to look into somehow appropriating that, because that's got all the perfect shooting principles involved on this. This is just an addendum and a backup to get you a little closer to purity in your shooting. Just remember, if you shoot 80% in the free throw line, you have a 20% discrepancy. So you need to work on understanding why you're missing 20% of the time. If you're 90% shooter, you have less problems. But they also are a problem. There's no reason you guys can't shoot 95% all the time from the free throw line. It's completely mechanical. But the mind is what rules. Remember that it's the process, not the product. It's what you're doing at the free throw line or the shot that's so important. It's not the end result. We worry too much about the end result, and the process breaks down. It's mind over matter. If you remember those things, you can become so much more proficient in your development as a great shooter.
Ed Polubinskas has created 2 revolutionary tools to help all shooters, young as well as professional. The Action Line, the guidepost for perfect shooting style, and the Perfect Shooter's Triangle, which features a unique finger numbering system. When combined, the Action Line and Perfect Shooter's Triangle make the ultimate guiding system to assist all shooters to better understand the fundamentals of basic shooting mechanics. The Ed Polubinskas way. For more information on PBA, Ed Polubinskas products, or to obtain a copy of Ed Polubinskas' first video, contact www.freethrowmaster.com or the 800 number on the screen.